So as you guys know, AMC stock has earnings this upcoming Thursday, August 4th. What a lot of people fail to realize, and I don't blame you guys, is that AMC tends to rally 2 to 4 weeks after earnings, and we have only not seen a rally after earnings one time over the last 5 or 6 earnings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 earnings now. So the odds of us getting a rally after earnings are much higher than a sell-off. So we are going to talk about that situation, go over in depth what happens around AMC stock earnings over the last year and a half. Also, I do want to go over the data that you guys need to know around AMC stock heading into this earnings season. So hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. This is probably a video you want to push out because, hey, the more people know this, the potentially bigger a rally could be with AMC stock, the less scared investors we're gonna have out there, and hopefully people have knowledge heading into this earnings season. So what's the deal with AMC stock? Well, around earnings, AMC tends to rally, not the day of earnings, not the next day after, not the day after that, but 2 to 4 weeks after that, AMC tends to post some massive gains. Now, yes, I know people might be confused as I say that because AMC tends to sell off the day after earnings, but take a look back here. March 10th, 2021, the low of that day was $9.51 per share. The peak after the rally that we seen was a high of $14.49 per share. So you went from $9.51 per share 5 days later, and I think it was 4 trading days later, you hit almost $15 per share. So that was a very substantial percentage gain rally. That was like a 45-50% rally from the lows to the highs. Even if you caught a portion of that, you're still looking at 20, 30, 40% either way you break it down. Now, this one is probably the most obvious one. On May 6th, 2021, we hit a low of $8.93 per share, and we peaked out on June 2nd, about 1 month later, and we hit a high of $72.62 per share. So that one's the obvious one. But even after that, in August 9th, the day of earnings, the low was $32.35 per share, and the high was up here at $51.69 per share. That is a very substantial move, and people got paid out big for getting a little bit of time on options, for buying the dip around earnings in August of 2021. And then this is the one time where earnings did not pay out. This was the end of 2021 in November, when the markets really started to take a hit. The day of earnings, November 8th, the stock hit a low of $41.77 per share, and we did not get back to that level pretty much at all. We have never been back to that level since. So that's the one earning where it just didn't pan out. November of 2021. And now, March of 2022, what actually happened? We hit a low of $17.83 per share right here. And yes, we did sell off for a good 2 trading weeks after earnings, and then we got that March rally. So you hit that low, $17.83 per share, and you did hit a high of $34.33 per share. Even the low of this day, and I know you guys probably remember this just as vividly as I do, the stock pretty much gapped up and got halted. It was up huge in the beginning of trading. Everyone thought the MOAS was happening that day, and that was on March 29th. And then we just sold straight off throughout the rest of the day, hardly posting a positive day. But that high was at $34. So you went from 17 to 34 even back here in March. What has happened over the last earnings? Well, the low was $12.43 per share the day of earnings. About 3-4 trading days later, you hit a low of $9.70 per share. So sure, it was a pretty aggressive sell-off, but what has happened just over the last week or so? You actually hit a high of $18.37 per share. All of this happening within usually around 30 days after earnings, give or take. Some earnings take a little bit longer. This last time around was, 60-ish days, about possibly a little bit longer than that. I'm not going to sit here and actually do the math, but you've still seen a rally. So if you were buying shares around earnings and getting out at the peak, you made a very substantial percentage return, besides back here in November. And for a lot of reasons, I think this earnings is going to probably be one of the most important earnings that we have gotten in a very long time. One of the biggest reasons is that AMC should be closer to an actual profit now, if not potentially posting a profit than we have been in a very long time, right? AMC, much different business now relatively to what they were over the last earnings, right? With their credit card initiatives, we're going to get an update on that, to their crypto business, to their popcorn business, to their DoorDash popcorn business. I don't know if you want to label that its own business, but you got all that. And then you also have AMC taking stakes in other companies. So it's a much different company now. We're getting on the right footing, and even though you're seeing certain sectors of the economy that are not doing so good, right? People went out, they bought the products that they wanted with all the stimulus, but they weren't able to go out and do things. So products and goods are suffering right now a little bit, at least. Earnings with Apple and other companies wouldn't suggest that as much, but something like a Walmart has definitely came out and gave us that guidance that people are not buying non-discretionary items anymore. But what you're actually seeing is people are enjoying services. People are going out. People are going on cruises. They're going to travel. They're doing everything that they couldn't do over the last 2 years. One of those things is going to movie theaters. Even my personal family is going to theaters more now than I think they did pre-COVID. So there's a lot of that pent-up demand, and that's going to be reflected on earnings, and that should potentially be a very bullish thing on top of everything else I just mentioned. AMC is also taking steps to fundamentally make the business better, and I think that's why AMC has actually held up so well throughout the month of June and early in July, when the stock market was actually selling off. For an example, AMC just paid off $92.5 million of a convertible note, which had one of those very high interest rates. So it's the interest rate that really kills companies. When companies can't meet those obligations, that's where you get that downhill trajectory. But AMC in a much better situation, proving that they can actually manage their debt burden. Now, on top of that, and I think this is the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, this is the umbrella to your Bahama Mama on your cruise vacation, or whatever else weird analogy you want to put with it. You're seeing Adam Aron that came out about 2 weeks ago and said, when the timing is right, we will pounce on short sellers. And he said after August 4th. Now, if you guys have not been watching the channel, if nobody else has covered this for you guys, you might be a little bit confused, but essentially Adam Aron on the last earnings call was asked why don't they do more, pretty much to expose shorts, to cause a short squeeze, and he didn't deliberately answer that, but he said that AMC will pounce, but only when the timing is right. He was also asked about a dividend or some kind of gift card, some way to reward shareholders and really crush the shorts that are betting against AMC stock, and he is leading us on to believe that around August 4th, maybe shortly after that, there will be something that should make people pretty excited, that should help to squeeze out the shorts. So when you put all this together, I think it's very obvious here that AMC stock might possibly sell off a couple days after earnings. Typically, that's what we see when we get earnings with AMC. Maybe what Adam Aron says is a little bit different. If they went out and acquired new stakes in new companies, well, obviously that's going to be more bullish than other things that Adam Aron says. Who knows? I'm not going to try to forecast what they're actually going to say or what companies they acquired stakes in. I think that's a fool's game, and we're not going to do that. But what we know is a very high percentage of the time, 5 out of the last 6 earnings, AMC stock has rallied the next 2 to 4 weeks after earnings. So that's where I'm going to place my money. I think that is the safest bet. If you guys do or don't, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to come trade with me live in real time, link down below in the description as well. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.